Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the chapter 5, the meanings of language. First of all, we need to know, I'm going to read the phrase. Language without meaning is meaningless by Roman Jacobson. That means that language without meaning that not make sense for us as speakers. So first of all, I'm going to read a little part of a comic. And the first one we say two people, and one of them is talking to the plant to say, and the other scene we say that the other say that was a perfect example of semantics in action. And the other one it says, what is semantics? And the other the other person say it's the science of conveying thoughts through abstract utterances. The other say the hate you say it's true. In the next scene we just see the two persons seeing the animal. In the last one said, if it is true, how come she didn't read in my checks? Let's say a little funny scene. So for in this part, the meaning, we need to know that the meaning for thousands of years, philosophers have been wondering what the word meaning means, and we need to know that as speakers, we can produce a strings of words that are meaningful to other speakers, as we see in this little part of the comic. That the animal don't understand the speaker because they don't speak the same language, and so for this reason they can understand each other. So we need to, in this part, we need to know that all of the speakers have different language, and each language have their own meanings and their own words. And so for in this part to understand a language, we need to know the meaning of words and the morphemes and that compose them. Then we need to know how the meanings of words combine into phrases and sentence meaning. And finally, as speakers, we must interpret the meaning of utterances in the context in which they are made or they are used. This part is so important to understand a language. So now I'm going to talk about what is semantics. Semantics is the study of the linguistics meaning of morphemes, words, phrases, and sentences. And we need to know that semantics have two subfiles. The first one is the lexical semantics, that is concerned about the meaning of the words and the meaning of the relationship among the words. And in the other file is the phrasal or sentential semantics, that is concerned about the meaning of syntactic units larger than the word. It could be the phrase or sentences. Now, doing a parenthesis, I'm going to explain you a little part of pragmatics in example. In this part, we have the example that it is calling here. And any speaker say that. And in a certain situation, it means that the speaker want to say that close the windows because it's cold. But if we put this phrase in other context, with probably another speaker saying it is cold in here, but the speaker wanting to say that in that place it's really cold. So in pragmatic, it's so important the context in which we are saying the sentence. That's all for this part of pragmatics. Now I'm going to talk about lexical semantics, word meanings. First of all, I'm going to read a little fragment of a dialogue. I don't know what you mean by glory, Alice said. Humpty Dumpty smiled contemptuously. Of course you don't, till I tell you. I meant there's a nice knockdown argument for you. But glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument, Alice objected. When I use a word, Humpty Dumpty said, in rather an scornful tone, it means just what I said it to mean, neither more or less. So the question is, Alice said Alice, whether you can make words mean so many different things? That's a really good question, as you say. So analysis this conversation, we need to do that. We say that Humpty Dumpty wants to put his own meaning for this word glory, but Alice know that the word have a certain meaning, an agreed upon meaning for this word. For this reason, she asked at the end that question. So, as a little conclusion of this part of this conversation, we must know that changing the meaning at will can hinder communication, because when we put our own meanings for certain word, the other people probably and the other people can know what it really means. And for this reason, as an example, as a second language learners, it could be difficult to learn another language, because if the words have different meanings for each people, that not make sense as I first read the phrase. So now we need to know that learning a language, learning a language concern about the learning the agree upon meanings of certain strengths of sounds, and learning how to combine these meaningful units into larger units that also convey meanings. As we know, first we start learning how a word is composed, about the prefixes, the root, the types, and so on, that have their own meaning. But if we put this word in another context, in a phrase, or in a sentence, it can mean other things. So what is this is what this phrase is saying. Now I'm going to talk about the denotative and the cognotative part. And the first part, we need to know that the denotative part is it's concerns about how the dictionaries about the dictionaries, and the dictionaries are filed with words in their correct meanings in certain language. But in the other hand, we have the cognotative part that it refers to us as a humans, and to us as humans, and what is our knowledge in of the words. We are working dictionaries. We know the meanings of thousands of words, and for this reason we know when use them to express our thoughts and understand them when we hear it from other people. So for this part, it is important to say that we have the knowledge of we have the knowledge in our mind, and for this reason we can express feelings, thoughts, and etc. This part, the connotative part, we can refer it as the knowledge of the speaker's lexicon, and because we know the agree upon meanings of certain words, of the certain words, and how we use this in a daily context, like in conversations, for example. Now, now I'm going to explain you what is meaning of words and what is lexicon, 2 points that are so important in this part. First one, the meaning of words is the part of linguistics knowledge, and it's also the part of grammar, because we use the words and we know the meaning of words and use it in certain grammar, for example, in English. Another point to that is so important in this part, that we, when we are talking in our mother tongue, sometimes we probably don't seldom stop of asking ourselves what does certain word means. But as an example, as a second language learners, we usually do this. We usually stop and ask ourselves or ask the teacher what that word means, to use to use it in a conversation, for example. So it's so important to know that sometimes it's better to stop ourselves and think what the word really means and use it in the correct context, for example. In the other hand, we need to know what is lexicon. As I already said, the knowledge, the speaker lexicon is the knowledge of the meaning that person has. So in a more academic way, lexicon is the mental storehouse of information about the words and morphemes does that a speaker have. So thank you for your attention. That was all for my presentation.